Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Walk the Prank. This is a three-season series. It's 2016 to 2018, and it is a weird mix of reality TV pranks put on by these kids. Really, they're actors, and there's a non-reality. There's a scripted part of it where these kids play characters who like putting on pranks and then upload them to YouTube or a similar video service, and they get lots of views and hits because of it. It's a weird hybrid because obviously these pranks and these jokes are all manufactured and put together by adults with a whole production team and costumes and makeup and design, and they build fake walls in a house where a ghost bear can crash through to scare babysitters. Stuff that it's beyond the reach of any kid without just tons of money at his disposal. And they still do have to put the warning at the beginning and the middle of the episode to say, hey, don't do this at home. This is done by professionals and actors. So yeah, these it's four kids and an adult. Their uncle, who okay, I have to say this before I forget about it. The set and where they have the joke shop where their uncle runs that has all the gear that they supposedly use. Um, it's the Always Sunny in Philadelphia bar. You could barely tell, but I've seen enough of Always Sunny in Philadelphia to know that it's that bar. It's an interior. It's a set on a lot somewhere, probably the Fox lot. I have no idea which lot it is. Maybe Warner Brothers. I have no idea, but it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia bar because the bar is still there. The whole back glass and everything else is there, except a lot of the props are all just replaced with um, just props and gags and fake poo and stuff like that. So it's just silly. But yeah, I had to say that because I have a thing about sets and how they reuse them in different shows, and it's a fairly popular set. It's been used in a ton of shows and movies. Anyway, back to the thing. Three seasons. There's supposedly about 60 episodes. 18, 26, and 13. I don't. Yeah, it's about 60 episodes or so. Um, it focuses mainly on these four kids, and they're all like best friends. They're like junior high, sixth grade. I have no idea. I can't tell. But one of them has a younger brother who is like the butt of all their jokes. He wants to join the gang to put on practical jokes, and he gets the most abuse, as little brothers tend to do. Gets picked on a lot, but they let him join the gang. I've seen these kids before. We talked about something, and I think it's that involves these kids. I think it was a show called Just Roll With It that featured them doing this kind of stuff. Because we haven't. I thought there was maybe shorts from this, but I couldn't find anything in my history to show that I'd actually done anything about this prank show. So maybe Just Roll With It was connected to this somehow. I don't know, but anyway, bunch of kids. I recognize some actors from these stills here that I'm looking at, that like known actors. Uh, there's like three different pranks that are featured in this, three, four ish. One involves doing a headlights check at a school, and each of the kids are in it. And one of the kids shows up with a hat, and he takes the hat off, and the person they're pranking is like a temporary, like a temp that just hired to help at the local school and to help check for lice. And this guy is his first day on the job, and of course the kid that is pulling the prank pulls his hat off, and there's these giant like cockroaches, like not cockroaches, but they're big beetles that he has inside his hat. They're alive, they're real, and he pulls it off, and the guy freaks out and just scrambles and runs away. And yeah, it's actually funny because it's a real reaction. You always kind of wonder if the people that they're pulling the pranks on are also actors. Well, the guy who was pranked there was probably a really good actor because he fooled me. He looked like he was pretty freaked out. Because the bugs, I mean, I would have freaked out too because they were pretty freaking big. Um, But yeah, and the second one was like freaking out babysitters. Like they did a couple of babysitters in a row where like the one girl they focused on the most was just a girl who it was her first babysitting job, and she was like 14 or 15 maybe, and she's boys tell this elaborate story like right after she gets in there about how there's a ghost of a family. The family was murdered by a bear that they kept. It was just some elaborate thing. You're just like, if you're a babysitter or just any person going, okay, these kids are screwing with me. They are just screwing with me. It's whatever. I mean, it, this one I really didn't check as being real because at one point they do some sort of ghostly thing and the candle moves, some books fall off a bookshelf, and she's freaked out. She's like, "Oh, I gotta call your dad. Make sure this is just weird." Um, and and then a bear comes bursting through a wall. A guy in a costume, a bear costume, comes bursting through a wall, and yeah, it's bad. It just looks bad. And she goes screaming and running. Never mind the children that are in her care. She goes running out the door, and the kids are all running separately themselves. She's not protecting them at all. She's a new babysitter. Hold on, the neighbor's making some noise. I gotta be right back. Okay, I don't know if you could hear that, but I could hear that. So anyway, no editing, never a cut. So anyway, the it just seemed really that one seemed kind of fake. Then there was points they figured, well, we have a breakaway wall kind of thing. Why don't we use the heck out of that? So they dressed one of the kids up in like a wolf costume, but with really long legs for the front arm for the really long arms for the front legs, and people would walk by this fence hearing a dog bark, and all of a sudden it would burst through the thing, and they would go running and screaming, and you just look at this thing and you're like, this is obviously so fake and so dumb. I imagine some people didn't run too far. A lot of them looked like they were laughing when they saw what was chasing them. Eventually, the kid just gets up on his hind legs and just runs after them. It's silly. It's funny, but yeah. Then there was another one with. I just watched one episode, by the way. I got the gist. So right after that, then there's a science fair. They set up an elaborate science fair. They bring in some guy to help judge, and one of the kids has a science fair project of a robot that he built from a kit, and it's really one of the other kids in a robot suit. It's like something out of THX 1138, but he talks, and of course he gets out of control, and the guy freaks out and has to, you get to see his reaction, and he looks like he was mildly amused by it. And the kids are, I say this a lot, I judge kids pretty harshly when it comes to them being hired as actors, but these kids have some good comedic timing. They're freaks. They're just weirdos. Adults are scripting this. Adults are scripting their characters. This is definitely not like Bailey is played by a girl named Jillian, and Herman is played by a kid named Bryce. So yeah, it's just the way. Yeah, they're all actors. So yeah, they're not just kids are like, we're doing pranks. It's actors. And during the scripted sequences, like where they're at lunch at school talking about things, the girl has this weird obsession with her cell phone. She dropped it in the toilet, so she has to borrow another one. They have their own little arcs, little storylines with each other. Again, like I told you, the little kid, Herman, he gets picked on a lot by his older brother and his friend. Another kid collects. He likes being babysat by 16-year-old girls because it helps him work on his game. He's like 12 or something. And he asks if it's weird to collect when you ask them for pieces of their hair, because he uses them to make a doll made out of hair to practice on. And yeah, it's weird. It's got some weird writing, and but it's funny. I like the weird. I like the weird, but it's just weird hearing it come from like 12-year-olds. And this is not your standard Disney Channel stuff. This is Disney XD. It's where it originally premiered, Disney XD. So yeah, it's it's I can't say this kind of thing I'm really ever going to watch again, but it's because it's reality shows to me. I hate reality shows for the most part. Like 99% of all reality shows are just horrible because they're fake. Well, this one makes it pretty clear right off the bat that it is fake. It is actors and kids characters are giving resources beyond their abilities to pull pranks on other ones and on adults primarily, and some other kids, but primarily adults. And that, I think, is the appeal for 12-year-olds who might be watching this going, oh my gosh, that would be so funny if we could prank my uncle or my neighbor or my big sister or whatever, these kind of things. So it adds that little element of fantasy, and these kids are relatable. They're pretty good actors for their age. They're pretty good actors. I see a future for them. I looked up a few of them that I don't know if they've done a whole lot else outside of the Disney realm, but still, it's if you're into these kind of things, it's like Jackass for kids, Jackass for tweens, except yeah, it never goes as far as Jackass. Let's just say that, and it never will. But yeah, if you're into these kind of kid level, just wacky pranks, that this is for you. It's not for me, but I appreciate the good timing on these kids and their comedic acting. So I was surprised by that, but I think I saw that in the Just Roll With It thing before. So I don't know. Anyway, it might be worth checking out if you're into this kind of thing. Not my thing, but I will recommend it for those of you who are into the reality show prank stuff. So, and there's my hand waving for today. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
460.
460. Okay, load up. 460. You're just slow today. Overshot it. Huh. I've seen this. There's a reason why. Because I'm in it, technically. Well, no, not technically. My name's in the credits, so yes, believe it or not, footage that my friends and I shot are in this episode. Believe it or not, on Disney Plus. This is Star Wars: Galaxy's Edge. Adventure Awaits. This is the promotional episode. I think it premiered on ABC or something like that to promote Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland, because it opened up there before it opened up in Florida. So we were among the first people, regular people, not media, not staff, cast members. We were there on May 31st, and well, technically I'm in this, and technically, well, not technically, you can see my name in the credits in the thank yous for the footage. So, yeah, I'm going to watch this again. I haven't watched it in a while. I'm going to probably try to freeze frame it. Go, oh, there's my leg. So, okay, we'll talk about this tomorrow. Star Wars: Galaxy's Edge Adventures Await on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.